Hi, it's Moni, and welcome to Mind and Your Business.
These my dollars make it hurt.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Mind and Your Business with Moni. It is a beautiful day because I get to talk to a remarkable, accomplished, energetic, fucking powerhouse.
Damn.
Andy Hobaica, welcome. I know, so no pressure.
That was an awesome introduction.
I just put that pressure and that heat on you, man. You're gonna have to really deliver here.
You started something. I don't know if you really wanted this, but I have a potty mouth, and you just opened the fuck up. So it is what it is.
No, you're good. You're
Okay,
good.
cool.
My listeners are, if they know me at all, they're used to a certain colorful language. So
Sure.
be yourself. That's the point. However it is you want to be, it's fine.
Thank you.
with me.
It's very relaxing now because in the past, I've done podcasts where I said the F word probably 15 times in the first couple sentences, and it's just my energy, and I kind of just say it how it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole Gary Vee thing to where, oh my God, so Susie's teacher called and has said the F word in class, and I can't believe it in this. And he'll call the teacher and be like, I don't see any reason, any problem with my daughter saying fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that, other kids don't like hearing the word, but I'm not going to tell my daughter to stop expressing herself.
Sure.
She's going to live her life, and she's a good person. I'm sorry that the word fuck offends you, but again, I'm not going to ask for it. We can ask her to not say it around certain people maybe, but my daughter's not going to be censored, but she's going to live her life, and that's how I live my life. But you know what? I hope you have a great fucking day. And the lady hung up on him.
My
But
God.
it's just
Such a funny story.
It's relaxing because I've been on podcasts where I've said it a lot. And then I remember, so my dad's the opposite. He doesn't like cussing, but
Yeah.
in when he's not on camera, I'll hear him cuss every now and then. Now that he's retired, and just the whole fact. But he'll say, "Hey, how about this one? You don't cuss." And it was real good. I didn't cuss, but I had to walk on eggshells. Yeah, like how am I going to answer this? How am I going to answer this question without cussing?
I got you. Yeah, I am. I'm similar. I mean, it's not like it's something that happens on purpose, but if I get energized or if I'm in a flow, I believe that all of language is valid, right? And it's just, you have the consequences of what you say. So if you say it and you offended someone, then someone's offended. That's the consequence. You can deal with the consequence. But before we get into this or anything
Great way
further,
of thinking about it.
I want everyone watching to understand who you are. Sure. So, tell me about your business. Like, what company is it? What do you all do? Start there.
Yeah, so Andy Hobaica with Hobaica Services, air conditioning, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, wine cellars, pretty much all the home services, except for security. We did it for a while. It really didn't work out. It just wasn't profitable for us, so we had to drop it, but pretty much everything else. So all the home services, when you have a problem, you call Hobaica. We pretty much take care of the whole home, right? My grandfather, my Jeddu, founded the company back in 1952. So when he got out of the war, took his GI Bill, went to Phoenix College, and basically said, I want to be a tradesperson. I want to be an electrician. So he went to his counselor and said, I want to go into the electrical school because I got this free schooling from the Army. It's through the GI Bill. And his counselor said, Paul, our electrician class is full, but there's this new and upcoming industry called refrigeration. It's going to get really popular, and you'll learn a little bit about electrical in there. I think you'd like it a little bit. So he went for it.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
What a crazy story.
Not much air conditioning back then when you get out of World War II in the 40s,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he learned refrigeration, and then he worked for some companies and then said, you know what? I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do this. I got this. Started Hobaica Refrigeration out of his garage in Phoenix. And then over time started doing air conditioning, all the little stuff. But he'd go all the liquor stores, all the restaurants, and work on all the reach-in freezers and coolers and ice boxes and all that stuff. Everyone knew who my grandfather was, right? And then he did a lot for like nonprofits, did free work. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later about, how much I love giving back. But he would do all that. And then, everyone always says it. He had a big family, a bunch of kids to create a workforce. And they all worked for him from, his garage all the way to where we are now. We'll probably gross in $20 million this year to where it's crazy what 3 generations, 72 years will grow to, become.
Yeah, I think that is so cool. And I envy, I don't come, my parents aren't entrepreneurial. That wasn't that wasn't in our family, just wasn't a thing.
First generation entrepreneur.
I am first generation.
Hell yeah.
And I think something that's interesting and I wanted to talk with you about is I think when you're first generation entrepreneur versus it's in your blood and this is how you operate and you see the entrepreneurial spirit is ingrained in your family and you grew up in it, right? It's different. And so I don't want to, maybe I'll ask. So, okay. How do you feel like that's impacted you as a person who it's in your blood? This is all you know, really, is to be an entrepreneur. How do you feel in terms of like ownership of the company? Like knowing that like it's something that you've been a part of your whole life. You were born into it. Do you feel ownership in it? Do you feel like you can create in it? Do you like, how 100%. Do you feel about, okay, talk about that.
But it's about the purpose. So it's everything to me. My last name's on the side of the freaking building, right? On the truck, on everywhere, to where we'll have a technician that walks into a home, a plumber, an electrician, whatever. That person, they're trained really well and they know how we were supposed to operate like a family and treat the customer right and do the whole thing we can talk about. But they're representing me. They're representing my last name. They're representing my family. And we're always out to do the right thing, even when no one's watching. One of our mottos, one of our taglines. And we're always looking to do the right thing for the customer and giving them options and just being that family member in the customer's home. So as soon as we walk into a customer's home, we're part of the family and they're part of the Hobaica family. And, the whole entrepreneur mindset, my dad always told me as a little kid, hey, you're Andy Hobaica. Your last name's Hobaica, and you got to act that way. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? He says, you got to protect your name. We're hard workers. We work our asses off, and we never give up. If you don't feel like you want to be that person, can't be part of my family. He's not going to disown me, but saying like, you have to represent your name because we are hard workers. We do give back. We do love people. We do give it our all, no matter what. And you have to give your all 100% no matter what, never give up. So having that mindset growing up, man, everything I did, I worked my ass off. And to be honest, as a child, a little insecure, like at the end of the day to where like, man, I really don't want to do this, but I don't want my dad to think I'm a loser, a quitter, or that I'm not good enough to be his son. I get a little emotional sometimes where I have a great relationship with my dad, but at the end of the day, just always trying my best because I want to make him proud. That's it.
Yeah. So that I was picking up on that right then was
you're gonna get me to cry on your freaking podcast.
Yeah, look at us, man. Hard hitting questions.
Man.
Okay. So what I was picking up on was, or the question that is in my mind now is, when you're born into it, there's a part that you're not really choosing it because it is like, it's almost like Prince William, right? Or it's like you're just born, next thing you know, you wake up like, I'm in this castle, I'm a newborn baby, like I'm part of this royal thing, this lineage, right? So at what point did it shift for you from, okay, this is our name and this is how we are as a family, and like if you're going to be a part of this family, this is how we are, to now you're choosing it? Like when did that happen where you're like, no, I actually do, I believe in this to my core, and it's now my choice in order to bring this even to a new level of what I want to create? When did that happen?
When I went from service into sales.
Okay.
So
you started in service.
Oh man, I started in everything. So I started when I was like 12 years old. Every summer growing up, crawling through 160, 170 degree attics, running ductwork, installing the units, insulation, like the nastiest of nastiest. But hey, when you're 12, 13 years old, I'm almost 37 now. So back then, minimum wage was like $5.25. My dad's paying me $10 an hour.
It's worth it.
I'm saving up for a freaking car. I'm like, I want to be a baller when I'm 16 and have a nice car, right? So he always told us, like, we'd be watching a movie and he says, hey, you like those cars, right? I'm like, yeah. And he says, which one do you want when you're 16? And we'd like get all excited. I want that Mustang. I want this. Great. You better start working because I ain't gonna helping you. Shit. I better start working because this is what I want. So the same thing. I didn't get a fucking allowance when I was little. Literally, you worked your ass off for your money. I don't care if it was delivering paper, selling those chocolate bars at the store at the school. I killed those ones too. I was always sold like 50 boxes because I always wanted to be the best and always be number one. Why? Not just to be number one. I'm very competitive as an adult, but back then when I was a kid, so my dad would look down and say, I'm proud of him. That's it. Always gets me emotional because me and my dad are like best friends. But, growing up, my dad was really, really, really hard on us. And it was for good because it turned me into an amazing, entrepreneur, adult. And now I have my own family. But I don't even know where we were. Oh, so, working your ass off for money at the time for your goals. And when you're 13, 14 years old, it's to get a car when I'm 16. So I'm not a loser at school without a car. So some of my rich friends, their parents would buy them cars. And at the end of the day, when I got a car, everyone thought my dad bought it for me, but I knew where it fucking came from. I was working my ass off. So long story short, so I worked in install. And then when I turned 18, got my own van, graduated high school, and my dad gave me those choices. He says, you're either going to go in the military, you're going to go to college and get an A average, like I hated school. I barely got out of high school. My ADD doesn't work good with books. Like I can study for 6 hours. I'm going to freaking flunk the test. I knew all the information, but I'm a horrible test taker. I'm open to say it. I have hardcore adult ADHD, but at the end of the day, it's just, I'm not saying like, oh, poor me, I have ADHD. ADHD, I love it that I have ADHD in sales. I crush people in my industry because of my focus, my crazy mind, how it works, and 24/7, 100 miles per hour, right? People are like, you always have so much freaking energy. I'm like, yeah, you can thank ADD for that.
I can't picture anyone saying you have a ton of energy. That doesn't seem at all true.
It really comes out on podcasts.
But you said that you switched from being in this sort of
work, like hard work with your hands, right, to sales.
Yeah, and that's where you kind of took ownership of. Instead of I'm in this family, and if I want to do this or make my dad proud, I need to perform, to choosing it.
It's
and you said that happened in sales.
It's because I wasn't being managed by him anymore. So as a service technician, as an installer, my dad's the GM at the time, and he's overseeing. So every time I did something wrong,
you heard about it.
Where did I hear about it? Every time a group got in trouble, if I was there, it was my fucking fault, no matter what. I got fired like 6 fucking times, and I quit twice. Like it was not fun working for my dad growing up, but I always got dragged back because my mom would be like, "Oh, don't leave," or whatever to hold us together. My parents have been married for like almost 40 years, 39 years, and it's just crazy. But like my mom holding the family together, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be as strong as we are today. But like moving from service into sales, my dad wasn't my manager anymore. Still owned the company, but wasn't my manager. So I wasn't like just starving for his approval to where like, shit, I'm my own person now. I'm just going to crush it at this. And then, not bragging, but year after year after year, I set records, and I'm happy to say I'm in the top 1% of HVAC sales in the industry. So it's fun. And I give a lot of keynote and breakout sessions at different conferences and get invited for talks because I love helping people. And that's why in October, I'm speaking at Service World and giving a session on sales, but it's stop selling, start helping. And if you can stop selling the customer and just help them in what they need, they'll buy everything you have to offer. That's what I love doing.
That's great. And I think that that's so interesting that shift happened when you moved kind of out of your dad's realm and into your own realm, where you could actually have ownership of what you're doing and how you're doing it. So is it safe to say that his forte isn't sales? Is that not his area?
He's good at everything, but he does not love it.
Okay.
He'd much rather lead a team and be a leader than sell to a customer or educate a customer. He more wants to see a team grow. That's where he gets high off of.
So how do you account for that? You love the sales part, and now you love leading other salespeople, helping other salespeople. I love it. Where does that come from? If how come you're that way? Why?
Mom.
Your mom?
Oh yeah. My mom's the networking queen of Arizona. So my mom's currently in like 3 or 4 different networking groups, but my mom knows everybody. So I'll walk into a group, whether it's BNI or a Chamber Phoenix or whatever the heck it is, Chamber of Scottsdale or Chandler. I'll walk in and like, it's the air conditioning company. Is Jane related to you? And they're like, oh boy, here we go. Like everyone knows my mom because she has my personality. She's not as hyper as I am, not as energetic. I'm out there. But my mom's the one where she'll leave the grocery store and have 2 new friends.
Yeah.
So do I, but that's my mom. My mom will literally be standing in line. She'll overhear someone talking and she'll say, I think I'd help that person. I think if I say something, it might annoy them, but you know what? They might get helped. She'll turn around and say, I'm really sorry for eavesdropping. I've seen her do this, but what you were just talking about, I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend this. I'm getting no benefit out of this. I just really think this will improve your life better. And she'll become best friends with these people and they'll change her life. She sells for Shackley. So
what's Shackley?
Health and wellness.
Cool.
Vitamins, minerals, all that stuff. But it's the oldest one in the industry. So a lot of these
she sells.
Multi-level marketing companies and stuff.
Yeah.
Multi-level marketing. Multi-level the pyramid scheme crap. Like every company. It's like that, but on a smaller scale to where they're just trying to help people, and it's the oldest one.
Cool.
Yeah, Shackley's huge, and another reason why I'm so healthy. I take Shackley vitamins for like 25 years now.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's your approach to stop selling and start helping probably comes from your mom then, it sounds
100%. She's the one with the heart that I have. And if I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about what other people say. If you talk to someone, they'll, here it is. So when if I leave here and I get hit by a drunk driver and die, and the last person I got to meet was you, what would you say at my funeral? What would this person say? I would hope they would say that Andy loved helping people. He has a big heart, and he's always looking out to help the person versus take advantage of them. And in fact, in that case, when he does, then it overcomes and comes back to him always. But just that I love helping people, and that's my mom. So like when people ask me like, where do you get that? I'm like, oh man, my mom's the most giving person in the world. We don't have to talk about it right now, but I have a nonprofit 501c3 called One Bag at a Time. We feed and help out the homeless. It's all from my mom. This is all it is. So the only reason I started doing it and went hardcore with it because of what she gave me, and it's that heart.
Yeah, and I can tell you from my perspective of being a real estate agent and running a very successful real estate business is when I made a shift from thinking transactionally into thinking about how is it that I can solve problems for people.
Correct.
Making that subtle shift. And it's rather subtle because you're still transacting with somebody. But when you have your come from, be that source of okay, you told me these are your problems or your goals, and I am going to do everything I can to best facilitate to your problems and goals. Next thing you know, my business explodes and my referrals explode. Oh, yeah. My reviews explode because I think that people intrinsically know, when you're coming from that place of hey man, I'm here to help you. There's nothing worse than, I don't want to bash another company, but I've called, I sell a lot of houses. So I have a lot of experience with HVAC, right? As a realtor, it's they're always broken or some shit. Sorry. So
it's Arizona.
It's Arizona. It's hot. These things are running all the time. Yep. So I've had so many experiences with some big name companies in Arizona where
I know the ones you're talking about. It's all good.
They come, and they tell my clients, this unit's undersized for the house and this is this. And it's hey, you're full of shit. We know you're full of shit. Come on. And it just puts such a bad taste in your mouth when you realize that someone is there just to try to sell you something. They don't really care about your goals or what you need. And so for me, it's a big deal as an agent to have great partners that I know are coming from a good place too. Cause I don't want to, if I'm coming from that place of trying to help, I don't want to be calling in companies or partners who aren't, right? Because that's going to fuck my vibe up,
Correct.
right? And that's going to make me sort of an accomplice to their bullshit, right? So I think that is a universal key. And if you want to shift your business and your results to make the foundation of what you're trying to do the right foundation. I have a little
tip for you real quick.
Go.
Next time someone says it's an oversized system, ask them one question. Did you do a heat load? I want to see it. And then just stop talking.
Okay.
You can't say a system is oversized, undersized, or sized correctly unless you're doing a heat load. Okay. What a heat load is actually the most important part of my process and anyone selling HVAC systems. They have to go room to room to room. They have to take measurements of the house. They have to take measurements of the hallway. You have to see how high the ceilings are, how big the windows are, how many windows are they, what kind of windows they have. Then go in the extremely hot attic, see how much insulation they have, see if everything's sealed, see the ductwork. You have to test all this shit out to show you know what? You're right. It's a 5-ton. It's 2,100 square foot house, but it has dual pane windows. It has R40 insulation. The rooms are real small, no hot and cold spots. Maybe we can go down to a 4-ton. That's the only way you can guarantee that they're not fucking bullshitting is if they did a heat load and they can show you on paper that they did it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, these clowns come in and they climb up on the roof for a second and they come back in. They're surprise, surprise, it's too small. You need a whole new unit. And it's get out of here. Just leave. I know, I don't know anything, but I do know that you're full of shit. That's one
now
thing.
You know this, and they're going to be what do you mean? And be I need this. I can always call Andy Hobaica, and he can get on the phone and tell you what's up.
Oh, look at that, man. I'm just scared of you, man. Okay. So,
It's the name. I can walk into any building. So that's the best part. I'll go to these conferences, especially when I first got into sales. I'll walk in a room. Someone comes up and goes, "Are you Lewis's son?" I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, oh my God, I love your father. He doubled the size of my company with one suggestion. He's amazing. He's been my coach. Your dad's amazing. So my dad did build a legacy. Anywhere you go in the home services trades, they know who my dad is, but he's won every single award. He's done all that stuff. He's been a consultant and a coach for the last 10 years, and he's getting big into that now.
So like, I feel this is not one of the things I was planning on asking you.
Oh,
but
all good.
That feels like a lot of pressure as like a son.
It is to a point, but I know I can fucking do it. My dad built this machine to where I can perform like a fucking badass now, but he built that to where the stage I'm at now, people are like, man, you're fucking crushing it. Your numbers are insane. I didn't even know it's possible to sell $7 million in air conditioning a year. I'm like, well, it's not for a normal person, but I'm not normal. I'm Andy fucking Hobaica. And people are like, oh, wow, I'm not being cocky. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. When did you start? So are you a salesperson? Yeah, they're a salesperson. They work for, Parker & Sons or George Brazil. It's like, they're a salesperson. Okay, how many years of field experience did you have? 15 to 20? No? That's why I'm so much better than you. I'm telling you, I'm not better at a person, but when I'm sitting at a kitchen table and you start asking me questions where I start solving problems, I know how to solve the fucking problem. And I'm 100% guaranteeing I'm solving the problem, not taking a wild fucking guess with your wallet.
Okay, so I know what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, because you're right. On the face, it could sound cocky, but it's not. It's the same way that I feel. It's like I've sold almost 1,000 homes. There's not much I haven't seen.
Correct.
So when you sit down and talk to me about real estate, it's like, okay, there's very few people that you're going to talk to that know. And why do I know? Experience.
Correct.
I know because I've been through it. I've done it. I've been doing it. I've done it a lot, right? And so I think that having that background of experience gives you that confidence to know that, like, no matter what it is that I sit across from at a kitchen table about HVAC, I'm gonna be able to handle that because I've just been doing this forever. And if I don't know the answer, I know who does know the answer.
Correct.
So there isn't anything that I can't handle. And knowing there's not anything that you can't handle, I think it allows you. Just go with me on this.
Sure.
But I feel like it allows you to be truly there to solve problems and help versus sell.
Correct.
Because when you can get into a mastery level of something, that's
Correct.
what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're masterful at something, it does lower the pressure, the insecurity that the transactional mindset has. The transactional mindset feels scarce and feels insecure, I feel. But when you are so secure in what you know and what you bring to the table, now you can truly make it a conversation with the client about what have you been experiencing. You can sit there and tell them, like, hey, I know that George Brazil told you that shit is undersized. I'm telling you it's not.
Correct.
And right
this
away,
is why.
and here's why. And then now you've built that trust because you're willing to tell them, things that don't necessarily make you money in the moment. But over time, they're going to 100%. Always take your advice. They're going to refer everybody they know, like, and trust to you because they know, like, and trust you.
That's it.
And now it is easy for you to turn these crazy sales in because the client is doing the selling for you. I mean, basically, you're creating a sales force yourself through referrals, through raving fans. Is it fair to say that that's how that's been working for you?
1,000%. I was recently on a podcast shout out to Cade Rector. He's also in the real estate game. He'd be actually a good person to follow you because he's like brand new in the game. He's only been doing it for a couple of years, but a buddy of mine invited me on his podcast and I talked to him about that is Stop Selling, Start Helping. About 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I walk up to a customer's home. They told me right off the bat, I'm on a budget. I just want the cheapest thing possible. I still did my 2 to 3 hour presentation, my whole thing, did a heat load, went in the attic, went on the roof, went outside, did the whole home walkabout, safety inspection, went in the garage, did everything that no one does because it's my process. And this is why I'm trying to help, not sell. If I don't need to sell them a new system, I won't. At the end of the day, they couldn't afford me. They said, Andy, even after all your discounts, I have to go with this cheaper person because they're cheaper. I can't really pay for the quality. I'm sorry. That's perfectly fine, Georgia. That's all good. I hope for the best. I hope they do good for you. I'm sorry that I couldn't meet the standards of that. That person never used me. That person called me back 3 weeks later and needed me to fix stuff. So we had to go back and fix the person's install because they didn't do well. But that's not even it. She loved how I was honest. I educated the crap out of her. She couldn't afford me. She referred me to 5 people, and it was
Yep.
over $140,000 in business from those 5 people.
That's exactly right.
crazy.
I've experienced similar. I have people who had me come out, I'm thinking about selling my home. They end up never selling their home. They decide, oh, we're going to stay.
Sorry.
Some of these are, please don't be, they're here to drink. Some of these people end up being my top referrers, and I've never actually done a deal with them.
Correct.
But because I was honest and because I was just there and providing value, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me just educate you. Let me just provide value.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're a big fan of yours. And it's a big deal because your cost to acquire a customer is not cheap. If you can have the public be the one who's acquiring the customer for you,
Yep.
you can't get a better ROI. So I think that it's brilliant. But I also think that you talk about your endless energy. I don't know if you identify with this, but I know that when I made that shift too, from trying to sell someone something to just trying to help you and solve your problem, when I made that change, I noticed that I had an abundance of energy all of a sudden. Oh, yeah. It was a different vibe. It was a different, I don't know. It was something about being in a place where your goal is not necessarily the closed transaction, but instead solving the problem. It made me feel like I was constantly hitting my goals, which is motivating. It kind of built my energy around it because it was like, great, I solved that. We answered the question, yes or no, should you sell or should you buy? Great. And that was the win. So it turned the win from the closed deal to helping them. And when when you feel like you're winning constantly because your goal is helping them, how can you get tired? I mean, that is the scoreboard and you're always winning.
It's all energy.
Do you
100%.
feel the same way? Like
1,000%.
for you? Okay.
If I'm helping someone, I have endless energy.
Yeah.
I'll be tired and I just wake up because I know I'm about to help that person.
Yeah.
It's a big dopamine spike.
Yeah.
It's the same as people get
so
when they're
exciting.
searching Instagram and they get that like, and the same feeling to where like, oh my God, this person's actually taking my advice. This is amazing.
And they're getting a great result.
Correct.
And you got to contribute to that. Like,
Yeah.
what could be better?
Nothing. Real quick before we go on, let's step back a little bit. I had a thought, and being ADD, not that I wasn't listening to you, because I was. No. I can think of 5 things at once. I was thinking of this one thing because I wanted to bring it back up. Sure. It's all good. So working in the field as a technician and an installer, which makes me a better salesperson with HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, because I know how to do it. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know how to do what they're selling, right?
Yeah.
Or they weren't a car mechanic before they sold cars. So if they actually ask them how it's performing, they're either going to bullshit or look it up on Google, or hopefully they know the verbiage.
Yeah.
I guess if you're starting in real estate, like you're just starting out, or you've started in the last couple of years and you really want to up your game the same way I did in my field, I would become a home inspector. You're a real estate agent. You're walking the home with the customer. You're showing them all the things that they wanted to look at. And then you're able to see, oh, wow, look at this, look at this, look at this. Yeah, we're going to make sure we bring those up on the report. We'll make sure that gets checked. You're going to gain so much respect from the person. Going to be like, holy shit, the real estate agent's actually talking me out of the sale. They want us to move on to the next house.
Let me adjust what you're saying
Sure.
or thinking.
Yeah.
The key is to be a master of the contract. Our realm, so when it comes to real estate, and this is actually, I love that you said this because this is something that realtors do a lot that actually makes me insane. As a realtor, your role is the legal contract negotiation. That is your true value. Your truest value is the deal you can put together. Your truest value is not, can you inspect a home? However, you do have to be willing to use the contract to protect the client. And that's where what you're saying comes in. Because as a realtor, you get enough experience, you're getting out there, you're looking at homes. Let's say you don't have clients, so you're not able to go look at homes. What should you do? You should go look at homes anyways.
Correct.
You should go and tour homes. And
100%.
that accomplishes the same thing you're saying is you can start noticing the nuances of different neighborhoods. You can start to understand the school districts. You can start to understand this type of construction versus that. You can get studied up and know all that.
If you do real estate, hopefully you're listening because these are freaking knowledge tips right here.
But nothing matters if you don't master the contract. That is I always say the contract is our primary tool. That is it. And there's so many agents that don't understand the contract and they don't understand financing. That's the other thing. If you're an agent and you're wanting to get really fucking good and create raving fans, you need to understand FHA financing, conventional financing, USDA. You need to understand these different products. deeply, because it is part of your ability to make deals happen versus not. And what you're saying, I think, is getting at a concept that I just talked to my team about today, which is, the question I asked them and I asked myself was, are you the professional that you would hire? Are you the professional that you would hire? And if so, meaning, do you communicate the way that you would require a professional that you hired? Do you have the skill level that you would require of the professional you hire? Do you have the experience? And so on and so on and so on. And what you're saying about all of your time spent in the field, understanding in and out the nuances of what you're selling,
Correct.
means that there isn't a lack of experience or skill, because you actually were up there fixing this shit. You know how to
100%.
do it. You know how to measure. And I think a lot of agents, they don't know the contract.
They don't.
So they don't know financing. They don't know. They don't understand the difference between property types, and how some property types you can't do that kind of financing or that kind of loan, or you can't sell it to that type of buyer or whatever. They don't know it. So then how can they really say that they're the professional that they would hire? They can't. And then they have a hard time making sales.
Correct.
But for you, it's like not hard for you to make sales, because you know goddamn well that you're there with the most experience, high skill level, and you're also not there to even sell them something, which
Correct.
means you ain't thirsty. You're not sitting there thirsty with commission breath, right?
No. The thing that pushes me not to make commission, I have plenty of money. It's the fact of, and I'm not bragging, it's just I'm not hurting on money.
Yeah.
I made really good investments.
Sure.
I love real estate, by the way. I have a couple rental properties. But at the end of the day, what drives me is my installers. If myself or one of our sales guys isn't selling projects, they don't work. So if it's not for me and my sales guys selling jobs, whether we're busy or not busy, they don't feed their families. That's how I look at it. I feel like if they have 1 or 2 days with no work, it's my fucking fault. My fault they don't get to feed their family tonight. It's my fucking fault. So you have to do whatever you can do to close it right then and there. I tell people, so I do have a side coaching business. I'm not looking for anyone right now because I'm too fucking busy, maybe in the fall, but I coach people in my industry as long as you're not in my state.
Sure.
So I have like 3 in New York. I have 2 in California. I have 1 in Texas. And basically it's guys that do 3-4 million in sales that want to get that 7 or 8, or guys that just starting out and their owners want to learn the process because I know my dad, they know me, and they know my numbers, to where I'm just trying to stop selling, start helping the whole process. Basically, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's okay. So you were talking about just kind of, if your installers are slow, you take that on as your
I take it more on.
responsibility.
It is my job to sell. So that's where I was going with it. I was trying to sell people is you're trying to help the customer, but as well, you're trying to sell the job so you can get them the work. I don't give a shit about the commission. That's an extra bonus for me. The benefit is I'm helping the homeowner. They're going to stop wasting money blowing cold air into their fucking attic and all this inefficiencies and all this craziness and dealing with the companies and all this bullshit and the warranties and everything. And they're going to get a new system it's going to solve their problems, guaranteed. I'm guaranteeing it. And I get to have an employee get to feed their family because they actually get paid to do the work.
Yeah.
So I'll tell my guys, if you leave the house without the sale, you're not getting the work. You might.
I love it.
You might, but you have to
You're
fucking
right.
get it right then and
you're
there.
Right.
You have to.
You're right. In our industry, same thing. Like, we go on a listing appointment. If you leave without that signature, you might have a 50-50 shot of getting it.
Maybe.
Might.
It's a 20.
Yeah, you definitely want to close it if you can. And I think I think a lot of people in sales don't really realize, or at least I don't want to say most don't. I think a lot don't realize how important the role of the salesperson is in the company.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really is.
It's most of the revenue.
Trickles down to every person there is only there
Everyone.
because this person makes sales.
Why does the person answer the phone? Why does the technician go out and find the problem? Why do they do all this stuff?
Right.
It all goes down to the last person that's going to sell this job so the company can keep afloat.
Right.
So it costs Hobaica, hear me out, people, so people understand why $80 thermostat at Home Depot costs $400 to be installed by my company or a good company. Listen up. This is why. What does it cost me, my overhead on a technician, to get a technician to your door to look at an issue? What does it cost me?
I don't know. You tell me.
$200. I charge you $39.95 for the service. So if I don't find a problem, I'm paying you to do this service for me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're looking for a problem, But you'll always find something that the customer can benefit from if you do the whole process.
Yeah. There's
There's no such thing as a no, a lot of people call them no pay call. There's always something the customer can benefit from if you're able to educate enough and listen to the customer and their needs.
That's kind of wild. So you say if you do the whole process.
Yeah.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that you have a set process that every person goes to that makes a house call.
Correct.
And it is designed to be like a total diagnostic experience.
You called us because you want to get your air conditioning checked. While my technician's there, he's going to offer to do a whole home safety inspection as well. Maybe during that safety inspection, we're walking around the house and we see a freaking hose spigot that's freaking dripping water. And we come up to you and be like, how long has that hose spigot been dripping water? Oh, I told my husband to fix it so many times and it just hasn't been fixed. Well, it's just rusting out. It's going to make it 10 times worse. I can take care of that while I'm here today. Or I went into the attic to make sure none of the ductwork was leaking, and your ductwork wasn't leaking. But look, I have a little video to show you. And videos are huge, so they don't think we're lying or, know, the thing.
Sure.
Hey, Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's Andy. I'm currently in the attic, and you know what? I looked around. The ductwork's in good condition. We're all good to go there. But you know what I did is I took a measurement of the insulation. The insulation you actually have is 5 inches. A new home comes with 15.
Yeah.
This is the problem. You have a 160-degree attic. You have a 71, 72-degree home, and all you have in between of the 160 and the 71 degrees is a little bit of drywall, and it's 5 inches of insulation.
Yeah.
What if I told you could cut your electricity bill substantially and pay off this investment in a couple years just by blowing in more insulation? I'll come down, and if you have any questions, I can answer them for you.
Yeah.
If the customer is open to hearing about it, then we'll quote for it.
Got
Only
it.
if they're open to it. We'll never build a quote and say, it's ready, here you go, this is going to fix your problems. If you're open to it and you want to hear about it, we'll give you an option on it.
Why? Why is it if you're open to it?
Because I'm not there to sell you anything. I'm there to offer you opportunity to be able to help you and save money and help you with these things. Now, if you say, I think my installation's fine, I don't want to look at that, but you can send me a quote. We won't even send the quote because the customer's not interested in it. I don't want to just sell someone something. Unless they're bought in, I don't want anything about it. But the thing is 99% of our customers at least are a little bit bought in to hear the presentation because we take the video. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm on top of the roof. The unit's working great, but you know what? Your capacitor is reading a little bit low. If this capacitor fails, it could damage the heart of the unit, which is the compressor. At that time, you're probably gonna have to replace the unit. I would recommend we replace the capacitor at this time because you can see it's rated for 45 and it's reading 31. That's below the 10% tolerance. I would highly recommend we replace it, but it's 100% up to you. I'm gonna come down and show you my findings. Show them the video. They decide if they want to get a quote or not.
Something you're saying this is an important nuance. I think that we need to be very clear on. You're saying that you're not going to offer to quote it unless they ask you for the quote.
100%.
And that is an important nuance to sales. That's an important nuance to sales because to me, until you have someone say yes to you, their mindset is no. And you don't want to present to a no person. A person who's in a no mindset will become more dug in on no the more you push on that no.
Yes.
So you need them to open the door. And what you're saying is you're making a very strong offer. The offer is, hey, I found something wrong. Do you want to learn more about what's wrong? I mean, that's really what you're saying. Hey, this thing isn't right. I have a video to show it isn't right. Do you want to see how we can fix it? It's hard for someone to say no to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the sales process. So one of our things is one of my favorite ones is you get to a home and let's say you scheduled me to come out to give you a quote on a new air conditioning system at your house. Mm-hmm. You also scheduled 3 other companies, but I didn't know that whether they come before me or after me. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm going to walk up to you and say, first off, just making sure that we have about an hour and a half to 2 hours of time together. You have to ask that question first because 99% of companies are in and out in about 30 minutes. They're not doing a process. They're looking at what's on the roof or what's on the ground, and they're quoting exactly the size that's there, exactly what's there, basic, and here you go, one
Just
quote, here you go for
this
it.
Thing, yes.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
We're looking at the whole thing because you could replace the system with this new efficient high-end unit for 20 grand, but if your ductwork's leaking in the attic and no one ever fucking found it, what's the point?
Yeah.
So there's a process there as well as asking the customer to say yes and say, real quick, we spend the next 2 hours and we go over everything and I answer every question that you have and overcome all of everything that you've ever wanted to ask someone in my field. And we build the perfect system for you and your family. Would you have the power to say yes today? They're going to either say yes or no. And then when they say no, I'm going to say, oh, okay, why wouldn't we be able to move forward today? Usually the answer is my husband's not here. My
husband's not home. Yeah.
Perfectly fine. So are you basically telling me that your husband's got to get educated on this stuff as well? Yes? Great. Let's reschedule our appointment.
Yeah. Oh, God. So smart. Yes. I mean, this is, there's so many.
I can sell one-leggers. I love them. But a lot of the time at the end of the day, they're just getting quotes. And I'm like, if you're just looking for a low quote, I'm not your guy.
Exactly.
I'm not your guy.
You have
Call someone on Craigslist.
Right. Because now you have to realize that what you're actually competing on, right? If you're there amongst many others there, and you have a person who's not the decision maker there, and you're not going to be able to show the difference in value to the right person, then all you can compete on is price.
And a lot of people take that as when I say it, again, I want people to listen hardcore about this. Oh, you're just looking to close the person that's making the decision. No, I'm looking to fucking educate the person that's making the decision. They don't have to use me. But if the person that's not making the decision is sitting right there that's benefiting what I'm about to fucking offer them, I need them there so I can educate the shit out of them, because I guarantee my presentation is 1,000,000 times different than all my competitors. I can't add value if they're not there.
And the value that you're adding is the education. That's 100%. The important thing. So if you don't have the person you need there to educate, then why would you do it?
Correct.
Right. I agree. I think that, yes.
If you're getting prices on quotes, I'm not going to beat it. I'm not the lowest.
Right. And you got to know what you're offering, right? There's real estate companies in Phoenix right now that are like offering the lowest, like, we'll sell your house for $1,000, right? Ooh. It's like, okay, great. Like,
that sounds horrible. That sounds like you're not going to work shit for me. I don't have time to fucking look at homes and all this bullshit. That's your job. So I hired somebody.
Right. So, and you have to realize, like, yes, there's going to be those people too, or they're in a stage where they are just price shopping. Because what they're saying is, I don't see the difference in value across these different companies. I believe that all of you do the same thing. So I'm going to pick the cheapest one, right? That's the mindset of that person. Yeah. The only way to change that mindset is to be able to sit down with the right people and show them the difference in value. And if you can show and prove it, most people will pay more.
100%.
Most people are going to pay more, and they'll also pay more for trust. They'll pay more because you told them, hey, it's not your AC that needs anything. It's just your ductwork. And so everyone else told them you need a new unit, and you came in there and said, all I got to do is replace your ductwork. And they're going to be like, oh my God, you're the fucking best. And now you're going to get every back to getting every referral.
But then in 5 years when they need a new system, who are they calling?
And they're not going to call everyone else. At that point, they already know the one person they're going to call is the one who did the right thing at the beginning.
I was having a conversation this morning about a customer in Sun City. She called, and I can't blame the companies because they were just doing their job, but they weren't there to help. They were there to sell. Yeah. She called 5 companies. She called Parker. She called Howard, which is a good company. She called, I think, George Brazil, and I think Penguin. There are 4 good companies. They all have good and bad people. They have good and bad reviews. They're not Hobaica services, but hey, I'm not going to.
Yeah, well, not everyone can be the best, good, right?
So they're all good companies, but all they got a call is this nice old 95-year-old lady calling in and said she wants a quote on the air conditioning system because her handyman told her the air conditioner is dead. I need a new system, and it's really old. It was like 17 years old. It needed to be replaced if it was dead. They all went out and quoted the system. None of them thought, I'm not saying they're bad people. It's just how we run our business, and it's how I run as a person. I don't care if even my company caught it and thought of, like, we'll send a technician to make sure it's bad. I used to be a fucking technician, so I'm going to do a little diagnosis if it's our first time ever there.
Yeah, and figure out,
I went out there.
Actually dead?
I was the last one there of 4 people. She is now a customer for life. She didn't replace her unit. It was a blown fucking fuse.
That's it.
I went to Home Depot. I got the fuse, came back at 7 p.m. It was late at night. I installed the fuse. She was in tears. She made me cry. I hugged her. She told me she wants to adopt me, all this stuff. You got a customer for life. Yeah. She's already referred us 4 fucking times.
See, that's it.
It's crazy, but I don't even care about the referrals. I went home that night and, like, got emotional with my wife because I was like, this poor old lady, man, no one even, like,
really
wanted to go above and beyond and, like, help her.
Not even, to be honest.
I'm not blaming them. They're salespeople. They're trying to do their job and sell the job, and they're competing. But I don't give a fuck about the sale. I'm going there to help them. If they want to buy something, great.
I think
I'll sell you something. Sign here.
The thing that is really think the thing that really stands out to me with all this is, like, you just are screaming into this microphone of, like, I don't give a fuck about the sale, and yet you're the top 1% salesperson.
The sale's the added bonus. But if you focus on just helping the people, they'll just hand you their fucking bank accounts. I've had people that like, I just helped them numerous times. And by the fourth call, I helped them 30 times. Like, all right, Andy, we're ready to replace. We're really doing it this time. We want to, don't try to talk us out of it. We're doing it. Okay, great. They bought the air conditioner. And then when I financed them, the finance company, they needed $17,000 for all the work we were going to be doing. The finance company gave them a credit limit for $70,000 because they had really good credit. And it was like a 12-month no interest loan. So like you get paid off in 12 months. You don't owe any payments to anyone. 12-month no. And they're like, Andy, what else can we buy? I swear to fucking God. And I was like, I don't think you need anything else. And they're like, no, anything else? Like, we might as well take advantage of this 12-month loan. I'm like, how old's your water heater? I left with $37,000 because they wanted to buy more things. They're just like, I love this human being. I want to take advantage of this person in my home. They now send me Christmas cards. It's just
it's great.
These people love you.
It can't be better. It can't be better. I mean,
this is for every industry. Come on, people.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I've got, my team of agents, and, we're working on always, we call it sphere of influence in sales, and how your sphere of influence sale is your bread and butter. It is the cheapest business you'll ever get. It's the easiest deals you ever do. But how do you develop it? Well, this is how you develop it. It's about changing that mindset from only talking to people when you think you're going to get something from them, and instead being a person who solves problems. You talked earlier, I want to get this in before the end of this. You talked earlier about the process, about your process, and you have all your guys, people go out and they have a process they follow, this diagnostic type process, right? And you guys have it for yours. But I think that across the board, I think in any sales role, if you really shift your mind from thinking about sales into instead of like almost diagnosing, right? So like, let's diagnose the real estate problem we're solving. Let's diagnose the mortgage problem we're solving. And if you have a systematic process you follow every time, like you said, you're likely to find something. You're likely to find some way that there could be a small improvement in their life or in their situation. And then you can hone in on that small problem. You have something instead of little old lady calls and she's already self-diagnosed, or she had some random tell her something, right? Yeah. And you just go there as like some drone or some robot and like, okay, you said you want a new unit. Here's what it is to replace it. And you never bother to fucking think about, oh, could it be that she needs something else, right? Could it be that she needs something different, maybe even more? She might need something more. She might need something less. But I feel like in any sales role, I think a lot of salespeople miss the mindset of preparation, and part of your preparation of making a sale is being fully clear on what problem am I here to solve.
You sparked a nugget for me for your industry. So a good buddy of mine, real estate agent from my home group, Michael Stubbs. I don't know if you know him. He's amazing. He's been friends with him for like 20 years. He's really good at what he does. I've used him a couple times. He's great, good person, always looking to help people. He told me a story that he was helping a client and saying how the person came to him, I really want to buy a house. It was all emotions. He wanted to buy a house. He didn't need to buy a house. His credit was horrible. So his interest rate was going to be like crazy.
Yeah.
Instead of selling him a home, he said, back. I would keep your apartment for a little bit longer. I'm going to have a friend call you to improve your credit for the next year and a half. When your credit improves, call me back. I'd love to sell you a home. But dude, you don't want to buy a home on like 17% interest. This is insanity. Yeah. And I don't want to be part of that process because that would be me taking advantage of the situation. Yes. Anyone can sell you a fucking home. I want to improve your life first, and then we'll be friends about it. And then you're going to love me and refer me. And that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Amazing. I mean, that is
real estate is just like sell. It's like, how about we help the person? Maybe it's not a good time for them to sell or buy, right?
It's the difference between, being a real estate agent and I think being a real estate professional. I think if you view yourself as a professional, you're viewing this as truly a consultant, truly a strategist, and it's long-term, right? Yep. So you want to be looking at each person as how are they going to feel about this move they make a year from now, 5 years, and 10 years from now? What goals have they told me they want? Do they want a family? Do they want to move somewhere? Do they want to do this and that? Whatever that is. And now it's your job to put the puzzle together in the way that best suits them. Because they don't necessarily know. This guy, I've had a million. It's like one of my specialties actually is low credit people. And there's so many people with credit issues and challenges who even just believe that, okay, well, I'll just go pay all of my stuff off. And it's like, no, please don't fucking pay everything off. You're gonna fuck your credit up even more, right? Yeah. So it's so important to be able to take it take that step back again, out of trying to get a deal.
Yeah.
And instead of like, how can I view this person as a long-term partner? How can I be a long-term partner to them and create a strategy based on my knowledge, experience, and expertise the way you do? I'm going to climb up on the fucking roof. I'm going to actually see, oh, it's a fuse. Let me just fix this fuse. Not sell you an AC right now, right?
So one more on it on the real estate. Like he just recently just bought a new house. I paid a little bit more interest than I wanted, but it was my wife's dream home. It's on 2 acres. I was like, come on, man, this is a dream. Like right down the street from my parents' house, but it's like on 2 acres and you can't find that anymore. So like 75th and Acoma.
Oh, cool. Oh,
it's
I love that area.
Big ass yards, right?
I know. I grew up right there.
No one sells their homes in that area, so when you find it, you freaking buy it.
Jump
and
all
that
over
was it. So like, I'm looking forward to refinancing, but at the end of the day, I can afford it. I just don't want to pay that high interest.
Nobody does.
So he looks at me and says, he could have taken the sale because I own a couple homes, and he's like, you're gonna sell the house or you're keeping it, right? Turn it into a rental. You don't want to sell that fucking house. Yeah. That would be horrible to sell that home. I know I'm a real estate agent that doesn't care, that's not there to help the person. Would be like, you're selling the home, right? We'll get 2 out of this deal. We're buying one, selling one.
Yeah, it's a difference.
He's like, I wouldn't fucking sell it if I were you. You're keeping this one. This is amazing. And you're gonna trust
him for life because you see him make a decision that's best for you versus what's best for him.
That's it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Hey, before we end, I have to talk about it because it's what drives me, but my nonprofit.
Yeah, please. I was going to ask
you. got to come out to an event, by the way.
Okay.
I have one once a month.
Okay.
This month, I don't know how quick do these drop.
It'll be out next Tuesday.
Oh, beautiful. So the 30th.
Okay.
Last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
Starts at 8 a.m. We start setting up at about 7:30. You know, you're not forced to come this month. We do it every single month. On Facebook, one bag at a time. On Instagram, one bag at a time. AZ. But it basically a 501c3, and we're actually taking it to the next step. We're finally going through the process with the IRS and the new platform to where we can get like the tax credits and stuff to where like,
if you donate, you can get a tax
credit. Yeah. So I'm not there yet to where like a Catholic school would be or something like that, but soon we will be.
Cool.
We just had to hire a CPA and get our books in order to where if they try to audit you, I'm not going to jail because I'm not taking advantage of it. I've never taken a cent. It is 100% nonprofit. Everyone that works for the organization, no one makes any fucking money. Like it's mainly me and some friends and family basically. And we host an event once a month. And this, on that Sunday, the 30th at 8 a.m., 7:30 setup, 12th Avenue in Jefferson, right by Cass, in the zone, right? Where the zone is.
Yep.
They cleaned it up and it's back to where what was before. So I'm not going to get into government, but I wish that maybe our state cared a little bit more to where, like, instead of just getting rid of fucking people, maybe we actually improve. So at the end of the day, we go down there and we'll line up like 15 tents with tables and we'll get a couple different nonprofits involved. But we basically give away food, water, toiletries, baby wipes, socks, like everything they need on a daily basis. Like baby wipes is literally a shower in a box to a homeless person. Yeah. They'll start crying like, hey boys, can I take 3? Like go for it. Like shampoo, conditioner, razors, socks are huge. I'm wearing the same pair of socks for like 2 weeks. Yeah. The socks are huge. We just love giving back. And then we partner with other nonprofits. So like Dogs Days Out Arizona, Monique, she'll come out and they'll set up and they're giving little shoes to dogs with doggy bags and toys. Like it's hot outside. It's hot outside. And they're stepping on concrete. So as long as the homeless person brings their dog up, they're not just faking that they have a dog around the corner. They fit them with the shoes. Like it's the cutest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So how can people?
So real quick, just recently we had a ice cream truck out there and they donated their time and I paid cost, basically $1 per ice cream bar. Yeah, sure. And we gave like 700 homeless people ice cream bars. It was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun.
That's great.
We call it Creating Smiles on a Sunday. And we do it at least once a month. And you want to talk about sales. Listen to this, people. If you want to sell more, start giving back more. You'll be so fucking high on life that you'll just want to give back. You'll want to do it. And that energy will come off to your customers, 100%.
Yeah.
And I love talking about this. This is why it gets me so freaking high. I love it. There's nothing better. And I'll have like a busy month to where 3-4 weeks go by and I hadn't done an event. I'm like, man, I got to go out and do something. I fucking miss it.
No, you're right. I mean, they say that generosity is like a well of endless energy and endless kind of that high vibration life. So I completely know that that's true. How can people get involved with that? Like, apart from coming and donating, or if somebody wanted to come, they're not a nonprofit themselves. They
Facebook,
come and just help.
But onebagatime.org.
Okay. And do they bring stuff like to this event? Like
you can donate on the page. You can donate on the page.
Okay.
100% goes to the nonprofit. I've never taken a penny. I don't even do tax write-offs.
Okay,
like,
so they can donate money, and then you guys go buy what you need.
Yeah,
that's great.
and then it lowers your taxable income.
Got it.
So it still lowers your taxable income. I just can't get a write-off yet because I'm not to that level. I will be soon. But like, if someone buys stuff, let's say you make 120 grand this year. Well, maybe you buy $5,000 worth of stuff. Well, now you're getting taxed at 115.
Yeah.
So it still helps you out.
Sure.
I have a lot of wealthy people who just give money because they don't want to get taxed. But at the same time, I'm buying goods and services and buying the food. And I'll go to Costco or I'll buy everything in bulk. I'll go online and we'll buy stuff to where we have our own labeled little chapsticks and like shampoos because the labeling comes for free if you're buying 10,000 at a time.
Yeah.
So we'll buy in bulk. We bought in bulk with baby wipes, and it's so much fun. You would love it. And people bring out their families. I've had friends bring kids, like 6, 7, 8-year-olds, and basically they bring out their kids, and the kids will go home and they'll be like, "Daddy, I want to help more. I want to do this." Like, it just warms my freaking heart. And he's like, "Dude, they're so much more well-behaved when they come home." And we had one child. I forget the lady's name, man. They came one time. They were from out of state, but they came because they were friends with someone that comes to almost every event. One of my buddies, Jeff, and basically brought his friends out. They came in, and the girl had so much fun giving back. She went home and said, "Daddy, I want to start doing that here." So now once a month they created their own organization just because she wanted to start it. And he wanted to be a good dad and be like, "Of course we're fucking doing it."
Yeah.
So he messages me and goes, "Andy, give me a layout. What do you put in the bags? What do you do?" Because like, it's
so
just
cool.
It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I think that, we're a good ending point for this is like bottom line.
Stop selling, start helping.
Yeah. Stop selling, start helping. That place of generosity is huge. It not only for yourself, but for the world. And it always comes back to you. I feel like what I'm really hearing you say is like coming from that place of just, I'm here to help, whether I'm here to help a potential client or a person on the street or someone in the grocery store line that you overhear. I've
gotten a lot of customers at grocery stores.
So much. And it's just, I think that, our world is starving for human connection. I think, so much has turned into being commoditized and, just this whole message, I think, is so key. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
Tell
thanks
us
for the
one more
invitation.
time about your company.
Yeah.
How can they find, if someone's in Arizona and their shit's fucked up, who do they call?
Hobaica Services, 602-995-0387. We have a lot of office numbers. That one you can call in. You can get a 1952 special. This year we started as a company, so for $20 you can have us out. We do a free second opinion on anything. A company comes out and says, "This is wrong, the system's dead." We'll come out and make sure that's the problem at no charge as long as you have an invoice. So we know that we're coming out for an actual problem that we're giving a second opinion on. We give free quotes on upgrades, all that kind of fun stuff. And, you can check us out on social media, Hobaica Services, one bag at a time AZ. And guys, if you're in HVAC, I don't care if you're a technician, installer, salesperson, whatever you are, if you want to learn little nuggets, I probably post 2 to 3 videos a week on my Instagram page, on YouTube, on TikTok, and just try to spread education. I don't care if you're a competitor of mine. Go watch my videos. You're definitely going to learn something. You're definitely going to give yourself a raise, and you're definitely going to become a better person. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast. You're freaking awesome. I gained a new friend today.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you loved it. Bye.